Do opposites attract?
Plus, the most common questions we receive.
Why today on the
Game Over Show?
The Game Over Show. We are broadcasting live from Vegas.
Welcome back to the Game Over Show. I'm Charles J. Orlando.
And I'm Lisa Stedman.
And we are broadcasting to you live from the beautiful city of Las Vegas.
Woohoo! Cheers.
Right? Cheers, definitely. We're at the Wynn, so we're glad that you were able to join us today. We've got a really good show coming up.
We do have a good show, and it's our official drinking show. So about 2 sips in, Charles is going to be done. Are you drunk?
And done. You know, we should really get to like some data very quickly. And by the way, we're broadcasting without our team, so we are completely remote and on our own. And cheers to that.
Cheers to that. So technical difficulties, please bear with us. Producer Fiona is in New York, and we are in Vegas. So let's get to that data that you speak of.
But before we do that, can I just say one thing?
Well, I guess.
If this is more than your first time,
if you have to,
if this is more than your first time watching us, you know that we have a drinking game here, right? So people reveal themselves slowly over time.
Cheers.
There we go.
Drink, everyone. That's our cue.
Until then, the pulse.
So, Charles, you got the pulse.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of different things, right? Usually the pulse is very data-centric of things that we grab off thegameovershow.com or on our fan page or on my fan page.
Yeah, you do a lot of polls, and we get some great research and some real-world feedback. Like thousands of women typically write in and give us your point of view, which we love.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
But today you want to do something a little different.
I do. I wanted to take a look at a couple of different things data-wise. So the first is how relationship dynamics have changed in the world around us.
Changed because of?
Well, because of a variety of reasons, but I'm talking about the rise of feminism, how men are always saying women want equality and we don't know how to give it to them, and you know, how do you work?
How do I be a man still? And women are like, how do I be a woman still?
And stay empowered and all those other things.
Even though I make my own money and maybe I out earn him and all those things.
So some data to go with all those thoughts, right? And these are for us to just kind of talk through and think about. We don't have to have a solution here today. But so as of October of 2012, nearly 60% of American women over the age of 16 are now in the workforce.
60%.
60%.
Over the age of 16.
And the percentage is the same or higher in the UK and in Australia.
Wow. Do you by any chance have any data on what that was like 50 years ago?
Well, I don't, but and we can pull that.
Dramatically different. And we will pull that. I put you on the spot, but...
Well, you'll find it at facebook.com/thegameovershow. We'll put this and the other up there. But no, I just thought that was really fascinating.
That is fascinating.
But where this really started is, to your point, 50 years ago was World War II.
Yeah.
And that's where things really shifted.
That's when ladies started going to work.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's
what was the Riveter? Rosie?
Rosie the Riveter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened there is, I mean, men went off to war, and then when they came back...
Women had to pick up the slack. Women went to work. Yeah.
But across the board, right? Like,
remember that movie, League of Their Own? They started doing baseball.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it wasn't only baseball, it was architects and everything else.
But woohoo, ladies!
I'll drink to that.
Drinking to the ladies. Love that. Women's empowerment. You know that's my favorite subject.
But the interesting thing about that is that when men came back from war, they wanted women to go back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work out. So that didn't work it out at all. No. But and as of that time, things have been fundamentally different.
And they've been shifting slowly in the direction. I mean, so many women are working now, and so many women have professional careers, and even that sounds like their daughters are working. 16.
Yeah, 16, definitely.
I mean, I had my first job at 14, but it was like a summer job, you know?
Right.
It wasn't like something really hardcore.
Well, you know why?
Why?
Because people reveal themselves slowly over time. Drink!
Oh, snap. I was saying he was going to get tipsy. I haven't had a lot to eat today, people.
This is going to be a fun show in about 10 minutes. All right.
I'm going to get giddy.
That was the first piece of data. Second piece of data.
I might make out with the camera.
Oh, my God. You know, there's some internet site that wants you to do that so they can repost it.
I will behave myself.
What a disappointment. Tune out now, ladies and gentlemen. That's our show. Thank you.
I know. Tune in about 2 hours and different story.
Let's talk a little bit about communication and how communication has changed.
Okay.
So, because of the advent and the rise of use of technology, specifically internet dating, text messaging, how couples...
The change in the way people use technology to communicate.
Well, right.
Okay.
So when it comes... And I'm looking specifically at text messages, because usually...
Yeah, ladies, are you sick of the men asking you out over text message without ever picking up the phone?
Yeah, but women are just as guilty.
Oh, I love text messages. Oh, my God.
See, you just drink.
No, I mean, I will drink.
Well, so here's...
But I think text messaging is really... you and I text all the time. It's so much easier than picking up the phone.
It's very convenient for fast bursts of information.
Yes, yeah.
But it takes away from the closeness and the intimacy of interpersonal relations.
I can't imagine what it would be like to date and court through text message.
Well, let's talk about the generations coming up behind us. Because you're what, 22?
Thank you.
Right. So, and I'm 21.
That's true.
So, so here's the data, right? 73% of adult cell phone owners send text messages to communicate, sending upwards of 40 texts a day. 40 texts a day. 73% of adults over the age of 18 send 40 texts a day, average.
Do you guys send 40 texts a day? Who has time?
Well, let's go back one further generation. Gen Y and the millennial generation.
Gen Y, what's that? Like specifically?
Right now they're 18 to 30 today.
Okay, Gen Y.
So 97% of young adult cell phone owners that are 18 to 29
97%
use text messaging, with the 18 to 24-year-olds sending over 100 texts per day.
Don't your thumbs get tired?
Do your thumbs hang low? Do they wobble?
No, I really, I think there are going to be some new chronic use injuries, and thumbs are going to be become massively buff, or man,
I'll drink to that.
Get carpal tunnel. Ah! That's not even the champagne talking, people.
So that's your data. If you're texting more or less, we want to know. Head over to facebook.com/thegameovershow.
100
we want to hear
texts
it.
a day.
That's a lot of texting. And that's nothing in comparison.
Who are you guys texting? I want to know. Do you text all your friends? Do you text your family? If you are texting as your primary source of communication, how many texts are you sending a day? That's so interesting. I would love to hear more about that.
Definitely. So hit us up at facebook.com/thegameovershow.
Yep.
Until then,
to hear about that.
It's time for He Said, She Said.
When opposites attract.
Right?
Do opposites attract? I mean, by all accounts, I think they do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it.
I'm a solid. This is a liquid.
Okay. So can we talk about our parking garage conversation today? This was hilarious.
Which one? We had like 1,000 on our road trip.
Yeah, no. Talk about opposites, right? So I travel a lot with my husband. I don't often travel with this guy. Maybe once or twice for business. So we're in basically the entire trip. He's like, "Hey!" It's like a gay parade.
Oh my God.
But it's hilarious because he's so funny. And
it's a gay parade.
That's what it's like.
You mean that I was happy, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
All right.
But it's fun and it's hilarious and it's spontaneous and all this stuff. But it was so funny because we were in the parking garage walking to my hotel, and I don't even remember what you did. And I stopped.
Bar!
And I was confused for a minute, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm not with my husband, because my husband's so low key. He doesn't he's not theatrical, and it's so.
And I'm not. I'm really just chill.
No, but it's so interesting to me, this idea of opposites attracting, because I don't consider my husband and I polar opposites.
Right.
But we certainly do have opposite personalities, I would say. We have a lot in common. So I'm glad we are talking about this today. That was a long-winded way of saying I'm glad we're talking about this today.
What are we talking about again? I got lost.
Opposites attracting. So, and I want to be clear, we're not talking about this polar opposite of don't look at me like that because I will start laughing, and we don't want a repeat of yesterday. I'm not talking about the polar opposites of your extreme dating habits of like you're so vastly different there's no way you can be compatible. We're talking typically about people who have different personalities, different interests, but they somehow have some common ground and they want to find a way to work through their differences so they can have a great relationship. So that's really what we're talking about today.
I'll drink to that.
I will drink to that too, and I was wondering what was clicking. It's my champagne glass and the microphone. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. So now that we've defined who we're talking about, keep drinking.
Okay.
Just drink up. I want to first talk about why we're attracted to somebody who might be opposite from us.
Let's talk about that.
Because we do, right? It's like if you're kind of shy, maybe you like that life of the party guy.
Well, aren't you trying to like really fill something that you don't actually embody?
It could be that so fill that. I'm not so sure that's the word choice I would use, but you're definitely attracted to traits that you admire.
Well, that complement
that you
you.
Appreciate.
Right. Not filling something that you're missing, more complementing what you either have or don't have.
Right, but also I think there is that aspect of like, ooh, I really respect that you're that way because I'm not that way, you know? Like, ooh, that's cool that you're that way even though I'm not. Like, I think that is where those two types of personalities who are so different can come together and have a lot of fun. Why are you, oh my God, are you drunk already? Am I going to, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't drink very much, right? But that was like a total Vince Vaughn Wedding Crashers moment, right? Where it's like, where they're like that, but they're not like that, but they are like that, but they want to be like that, but they wish they were like that, and then they're soon going to be like that, but they're not like that yet. That was
Do you want to lead this?
No, absolutely not. Oh my God, is it hot in here?
It is kind of warm.
All right.
And I feel the air. It's 69 degrees in here, everybody. Okay, so we tend to choose people who appear to give us the very qualities we think we're lacking, to your point.
Right.
But there's also, and I know you make fun of me when I use this phrase, we're growers.
No, I don't think that's a funny phrase.
So we gravitate towards people and relationships that are going to allow us to grow, which often means challenge us, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, not be like, oh, you can be whoever you want to be, and I'm going to leave you alone, and I'm never going to challenge you. I'm never going to ask, like,
well, that's a
I'm never
boring
gonna show you
relationship.
anything new. Oh,
but that's a terrible
snooze
relationship, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're not
taking this.
Those
away from
are the relationships that are maintained. They aren't lived, right? You just kind of
Love
exist.
that. Okay, you said this yesterday on Woohoo Radio when we were talking about this: the tending to versus attending. Make that distinction again because it's so important.
There's a big difference between attending a relationship and making one happen, right? So
you're attending, kind of phoning it in.
It just exists, right?
I'm not even drunk.
It's you know, it's like regular companionship. There's some regular sex. There may be some kids. Like I'm going to go to work. You know, that's for me. I mean, there's a lot of people who want to live that way, right? And that's fine. But for me, like I won't fucking live that way. I just won't live that way.
Words according to Charles.
And I'm going to keep drinking to that.
The other thing that the reason we are attracted to seemingly opposites is that we're excited by someone who is different. And it's what I was saying when I was doing the like that you were making fun of.
Did you say it like that too?
Well, you allegedly
did.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the drinking show. We're excited by someone who's different from us. Someone who has personality traits that is exciting to us, and I'm going to repeat myself, so we're moving on. So, being attracted to an opposite, can that make for a fulfilling long-term relationship?
I think so, definitely. I mean, it's part of that complementary experience. So long as, like I was just saying, one of the people isn't attending. They're actively like in.
Right.
But they don't have to be in the same way that you're in, right? They just have to be in the relationship.
Yep.
And bring what they bring while you bring what you bring to the middle. That's all.
Bring what they bring and bring what you bring to the middle. I got it. I'm with you. I'm tracking.
Yeah? Are you tracking?
So here's what's hilarious. We're so alike. It's insane. And oh my God, you'd make me insane and I'd make you insane. But this works, right? But like my husband is so different and so complementary. So I love this idea of complementary.
Totally.
Not polar opposite, complementary.
No, it has to be.
Maybe they're organized in your messy.
No, polar opposites is really ugly, right? I don't know if this is sitting here, but polar opposites is really ugly. Whereas you end up with somebody who's like a messy person with a neat person. You end up with an odd couple, right? And those people get on each other's nerves. Like
works in my relationship.
That's bad stuff. Well,
I'm messy. I'm such a mess. We joke that I'm.
But does he mind cleaning?
He doesn't mind.
That's different.
There are times when he does, but that's why we have a cleaning lady who comes twice a month.
Well, see, you're solving problems. Like somebody watches a lot of TV, other people want to watch a regular show, like you get DVR. Like you can solve those issues.
Yes. But you have to be willing to come to terms with them, and you have to know going in. I was very clear up front, this is who I am.
Right.
If you're hiding all that stuff and then you get into a relationship and you're like, wait a minute! Oh my god! Okay, so I want to talk about some solutions to dating an opposite,
but first, and because we have no crew, and I have too much blood in my alcohol, yes, I said that right.
Ew.
We love your tango.
Your tango! Whoop whoop!
We love your tango.
I love how easy it is for you to get tipsy.
Your tango.
Drunk, sir.
YourTango.com is
We
actually
love Your
here with
Tango.
us at iDate.
Your Tango, Miss Melanie from Your Tango. She's one of our very dear friends, and we love Your Tango. So we
Melanie,
are
we
in
love you.
Vegas, Melanie. We're hanging out with Melanie from Your Tango, but we are both experts on this website, YourTango.com. Lots of relationship resources for every stage of singledom, coupledom, divorce, all of it.
What she said.
Word.
Right.
Thank God we're having coffee after this.
No, we're not. I'm eating another martini. Solutions?
Solutions. Let's talk about solutions. So,
And by the way, we're going to go through solutions, but stick around. We do have the hot questions. Of
live
what
love
people-
advice. Oh, we're not doing live love advice. We're doing the most common questions people ask both of us as
So
relationship
stick around for
experts.
that.
Yeah. So bear with us during this part. We'll get to some better stuff.
No, this is important. We talk.
I'm just paraphrasing what you said.
Here you go. All right.
See, I'm not going to go there. All right. So here, challenge. If you have nothing in common. So often when you are in opposites, you struggle to find common ground. You struggle to find things that you have common interests. So if you have nothing in common, you run the risk of growing apart over time unless you find that common ground.
Well, how can a couple have nothing in common?
Well, that's a challenge. Like, I don't think that's actually a healthy
That's not-
relationship.
it-
I don't
no
think
doubt.
that's for a long-term successful relationship. So find the things you do have in common. I know a lot of women who become football widows during football season, and
shit.
oh my God, I'm so thankful I never know what season it is because my husband's not into sports.
Right. I know that it's like wintertime. That's what season it is for me, right?
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yeah, but I definitely like I catch sports on TV.
Oh,
It's
good
just-
for you.
But not a lot. Anyway,
Okay. So you need to have some common ground and really celebrate the things you have in common. While Drunky over here is collecting himself. Celebrate the things you have in common. So,
or what's wrong with finding the things you have in common?
well, finding the things you have. I mean, over time, aren't you going to find new things?
I would hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're just attending a relationship, you would be looking.
He's drunk, you guys. This is hilarious.
I don't drink, right?
Oh
She
my
made me
God.
do this.
Oh, I made you
God
do this. You've
damn.
been begging for a drinking show ever since we
I've been
decided.
begging.
Ever since we knew we were coming to Vegas. He's like, it's a drinking show.
Oh, that's what I did.
Just like that.
You know. All right. So
Okay.
solutions.
Are you going to mock me again? Because I'll walk off the set right now,
You
sir.
will not. No, come back.
Enjoy!
Lisa, come
I
back.
have the notes!
Please stay. She's coming back. Really.
I have the notes for the show. So I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to sit, and we're going to go through some solutions.
This has been a really interesting week on the Game Over Show, right? Like, if you can't tell, this show is completely live, okay? And it's
and we really
Go
like
for
each
you.
other. Like,
Right.
we love ribbing each other, and we can because it's all true.
right. I'll drink to that. There we go.
Yes. And we really like and respect each other. We just like to give each other a difficult time. I was
All right.
going to say hard, but I know how you are.
All right, but there are some people out there who do have opposite
Yes,
relationships.
yes.
So let's be
So
serious.
finding your common ground, important. Finding your common interests, the things you can celebrate in each other.
Well, and if they can't find it right away, I mean, they should investigate. You know, they should take a look at
Well-
what they each have in common. No.
Right, but if you really are struggling to find anything, to your point, I don't know that relationship can work.
Well, if there's nothing and you're struggling, then then
Yeah.
it's game over.
So another thing is agree to disagree. And this comes down to respect, right? Especially in the case of if you have different political views.
Well, I was going to say politics is the
Yeah.
number one for that, right?
Yeah. So agree to disagree and respect the other person's point of view. It's part of who they are. It's part of their makeup. The more you are able to say, hey, I get that about you and I respect that, the easier and more smooth sailing you're going to have, I promise.
Well, and it's part of why you fell in love with them in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So if they didn't have those views, it wouldn't have put their personality where it is. So
Yes.
agree to disagree is a great place to be. And just don't bring those subjects up.
Well, you can bring them up, but don't bring them up every day in like trying to get to them, like trying to really stick it to
that's
them.
a bomb. That's a mine.
That's
a
danger,
mine.
danger.
Don't do that.
Don't expect smooth sailing.
Right. Well, and a lot of times, so studies have shown that couples who bicker like that stay together.
God,
Couples
we're going to
who-
be in business together for a really long time.
And I quit.
See, that's my one concern about my marriage is we so rarely fight that when we do, it's like, oh, this is really hard. And the one thing I learned about having a kid was how to like have disagreements and be okay with it.
Right.
So if you are having those disagreements of whatever sort they are, maybe you're headed for like a long, happy life. But don't expect the smooth sailing and be okay not always being on the same page as long as you're fair about it.
Well, I think it's important that all couples aren't completely on the same page. I mean, if you're always on the same page, then you have no sense of self. You have no individuality, right? So
That's true.
it's a dead
Ew.
relationship. Yeah, that doesn't work.
That
doesn't work. It's
lead
not
into
natural.
codependency. It's not natural at all. Big one here, don't expect your partner to change.
Right. And that's a big one.
That's a big one for everyone, not even when it comes to opposites attracting. Fortunately or unfortunately, oftentimes we put our beliefs and our hopes and our dreams on the other person, which I think is a very unhealthy thing to do, but it's a natural thing that happens. And if you don't put yourself in check, you can really just sit there and be seething because they're not changing at the rate you want them to, but you fell in love with them for a reason and they are who they are.
Sure. Well, and I think this is what separates part of the genders, right? Generally speaking, men marry women thinking that they won't change.
Oh, I love this. Yes.
And they do. And women marry men thinking that they will change, and they don't.
How frustrating.
Yeah, very. But I mean, to your point, like, don't expect them to change. Everybody changes over time, but not necessarily huge pushes in any direction. So
really be willing to accept your partner as they are today. And then to your point, as your partner grows and changes and evolves, accept them for who they're becoming.
No doubt.
I love that. I know.
I like that a lot. I will drink to who people are becoming.
I'll drink to that too. Drink to, because we all are growers.
I wish I had Pinot.
I know, you're the one who wanted a vodka martini.
So what do you think? Opposites attract, don't attract? Let us know.
Yeah.
Facebook.com/The Game Over Show. Let us know. We want to know. In the meantime, we want to get to some really common questions that we get a lot. So here is live love advice. So here at the Game Over Show, Lisa and I get a lot of questions that we want to put some attention to, right?
Yeah, and typically we answer your live love advice in the second half, but because we're doing a remote drinking show without our crew, we decided to come up with the questions that we are most frequently asked via email on our websites, and so here we go.
And if you have a question, head over to, oh my God, somebody
we
just showed
have a special
up.
Visitor.
Somebody just showed up. Hold on.
No, you have a question.
So if you have a question, head over to Facebook.com/The Game Over Show, and we'd like to know. Until then, Lisa's going to get the door because we have no crew.
That was housekeeping.
Oh, great.
Thank you, housekeeping.
We'd like
Come back later.
We'd like our set clean. Thank you.
Yes.
So head over to Facebook.com/The Game Over Show, and we'd like to get your questions, right?
Yeah.
All right. So until then, let me
Can
just
you
ask
tell
you.
the show is live?
Oh, it's massively live, right? Can a couple work through an affair?
Oh.
And this is a top question that we get, right?
I hear this one a lot. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I don't think I could get through an affair.
Okay.
I think you can. I think it needs to be a very conscious choice on both people's behalfs. And you've got to be able to move past it. And that's the part that's the disconnect for me, is it would take me a long time to forgive, but it would take me even longer to forget.
Right.
And that's where I think it wouldn't be worth it to stick around. And I hear that there are people who it strengthens their relationship.
Right.
So Jeez, this is a tricky one for me.
Well, for me, it depends on the length of the relationship, right?
The length of the original relationship or
yes.
the affair?
No, not the, well, maybe both.
Yeah, right.
But it's really the original relationship.
Okay.
So we've talked about this a bunch of times. Like, an affair is an offshoot of what's missing in a relationship in the first place. So they went. Some people go internal and they do something different with their life, or they go take a class, or they go whatever. They write, they paint, they do all kinds of stuff. Other people go and do something outside of their relationship because their needs aren't getting met. Right. Well, right.
Instead of doing something else. Game over to that.
But they're missing something, right?
Right.
And that's really what's so.
So let me ask you this: how do you quantify that in terms of how long you've been together and working it out?
So in a short-term relationship, meaning you've been together for under a year.
Okay, under a year.
You stray, then in my opinion, they either didn't have the real feelings that they thought they had for you, or they're trying to stroke their own ego. I said stroke.
He said stroke. I'm gonna drink.
Or you drink to stroke? Really? Wow.
Whatever it takes, people. Am I right?
Or they weren't really connected in the first place.
Right. I mean, under a year and straying, I question your motives.
But in a long-term relationship, it's usually not that somebody just magically woke up one day and said, like, no way, like, it's over.
Right.
Something happens over time.
Okay.
And then it becomes, oh my God, why am I here?
Right.
And a lot of times, so when you take the differences between men and women, men usually and generally, so this isn't all men.
Generalization coming.
A lot. Thank you for the
disclaimer.
That's
our disclaimer. That's an asterisk.
I'll drink to the disclaimer. But generally, I mean, men fall out of love slowly over time, whereas women wake up one day and go, "What the fuck have I been doing?
Ladies.
It's over. It's over."
Yeah.
So, and men usually have to have a branch to hold on to when they let go, and women are usually okay with just like, it's over. I'm done.
We find ourselves.
I'm done. Yes. Oh.
We get hot and sexy, and we find ourselves. It's awesome.
Right. Then you star on Cougar Town. I'll drink to Cougar Town. So,
I'm running out of drink, but I've got a pretty flower in here. Can you imagine what the drive to Vegas was like? I kept practically spewing my drink like that. You just clean. Oh my God! I have officially gotten Charles Orlando to get off set. It's the first time I walk off all the time because I'm temperamental. But woo! I got him to walk off. It's my show. I only had to get him to drink. All right. Anything else you want to say about couples working through an affair?
So, working through an affair
is really important information.
Working through an affair is possible, right? It's definitely possible.
Okay.
If you remember that it's really an offshoot of what was broken in the first place.
Right.
So it's not.
You've got to come together for some healing, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
You both have to.
Well, yeah, but the physical act itself is a manifestation of what was broken between you emotionally.
Right. So how do you go about, if somebody's having a long-term affair, how do you go about asking them to stop having the affair?
Well,
I mean, what a difficult conversation, right?
It really ends up being a straight-up discussion of, what do you want to do? Do you want to throw away X amount of years, and then
so you just got to put it out
something
there.
Else? Yeah, because the affair always looks glorious, right? I mean, it's usually under a few months,
perfect and fabulous.
Well, of course, because there's no responsibilities and there's
you don't have to do any laundry.
There's no nothing.
You're getting their panties wet in another way, according to you.
Whoa.
Charles says that all men should get their women's panties wet once a week when they do the laundry. I love that, except I like doing laundry, so that's not an issue.
I'll drink to wet panties.
You do that, sir.
What's next?
What are the most common reasons for divorce?
Well, we've talked about 3 a lot on this show, and that's money, sex, kids.
Yep.
But as we mentioned,
indifference.
Yeah. The most common reasons for divorce, so 82%, so here's your pulse for later in the show.
Smarty.
82% of all divorcees reference irreconcilable differences. It's not infidelity. It's the fact that they just don't get along anymore. So it's all the little shit, right? Cohabitation is hard. It's hard.
You see people when they're not pretty, when they smell, when they're annoying, and you gotta love them anyway, right?
I'll drink to dirty, ugly people.
And I'm one of them, people! All right, how do you know if someone's... Oh, you haven't. Well, you have seen me without makeup, but it's not so pretty, people. He's a riot when he drinks. It's just so easy.
Sorry.
How do you know when someone's the one?
When they're not number 2.
All right, I'm gonna take this one.
I would appreciate it at this point.
Okay. So, ladies, let's get really real. And gentlemen, come around too if you're looking for somebody who's like a real long-term relationship. Hold this for me, please, sir. Be useful. Okay. How do you know someone's the one? Number 1, they bring out the best in you.
Yes.
They don't tear you down. They don't make your life more difficult. They don't challenge you in ways that are negative. Like the right person will challenge you to be a better person. So They bring out the best in you. Number 1, key. Number 2 is they care about you in your life. They take an interest. They're actively involved. They hear something you say and they act on it. Like, oh, I remember she said she liked, oh God, I'm so dating myself. Okay, I'm not going to date myself. She liked Pink. I'm going to take her to a concert where Pink is.
Well, right, they remember the little intricate details of your life, and they act on them because they care.
They ask about your work. They ask about your friends. They're actively involved. They're actively paying attention. They're introducing you to their friends and their life. You can see that you matter to them.
But I think your first one is the most important for me. I mean, it's really about how they... No, they're both
critiquing.
important. No, I'm not. I was commenting. God! So, no, I'm serious.
Emotional drunk people.
No, I was just saying that the first one, it's not only how you feel about them, because you end up with that chemical reaction, it's infatuation, and all that stuff, and it's not necessarily a telltale on how you really feel or how it's going to play out.
Yes.
But, so it's not only how you feel about them, it's how they make you feel about yourself.
Yes.
Right?
I love when you say that.
Was I critiquing?
I'm
really?
teasing. No, you weren't critiquing, but that's the brilliance right there. It's how... Say it again, because it's such a great soundbite and it's highly tweetable, but it's so true.
It's not only how you feel about them, it's how they make you feel about yourself.
Love that.
And how you bring that back to your relationship that counts.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Is it once a cheater, always a cheater? This is the last one, ladies and gentlemen.
I used to say yes, and now I say no.
Why do you say no now?
Because I've learned from you. Because you've said that, and you're a guy, so I trust you on that.
No, it's not. So my opinion.
So enlighten us for the ladies who are confused by this.
It is not. It is not once a cheater, always a cheater. So do people necessarily have do some people have a natural propensity to go and stray? Maybe, but it's their internal motivations that make them do that. So are they looking for an ego stroke? Are they looking to have sex because they're driven by way too much testosterone in their body, or is there
estrogen to testosterone.
Testosterone? I'm not the only one drinking today. Nice!
I haven't eaten much. I'm hungry.
But Jesus, we better get off the air. So, but
my vagina's gonna be angry in a minute, and you know what that sounds like.
No, I don't. So it's not always a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right?
Train wreck.
It's not always. Sometimes it's the way the person feels about themselves. Sometimes it's the dynamics between the two people that make the biggest difference. Wow. You know what?
I'm not looking at you because you're making sense. You are, I promise.
You know what?
I heard that last part and I was like, right.
I didn't hear any of it, and I agree with it. So that's it.
Thank you for tuning into the drunk show of the Game Over Show. I know it may seem like we're drunk every day. This is the only time we've actually been drunk.
On next Tuesday, on January 22nd, we're back on the air. So we've got a mini hiatus for 4 days, taking Martin Luther King's birthday off. And if you're not, you should. And if your company doesn't, you tell them they're racist. It's bullshit. So,
shame on them.
Right? Absolutely. And I'm not joking about that. That's bullshit. Right? So, on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about how to get your ex back. Are you pining? Are you pining for your ex? We double dog dare you to tune in on Tuesday. Turn in on Tuesday. Tune in Tuesday. We're going to be talking about how to get your ex back, except it's not going to quite be the show that you think it is. So
keep digging, Charles. Keep digging.
Absolutely. Until then, what do we got? You're Lisa Stedman, right?
I'm Lisa Stedman, and that's Charles D'Orlando.
I must be Charles D'Orlando. This has been the Game Over Show. We'll see you Tuesday. Bye. Have a great weekend. Drunk for Vegas. Bye. Woo!